I thought I was being funny. That's what I keep telling myself as I replay that night over and over in my mind. Emma, this risotto is incredible. Rachel reached for another serving, her wine glass dangerously close to tipping. Don't compliment me. David made everything. I gestured toward my husband, who smiled quietly from across the table. Marcus nodded. Man, you've got skills. I can barely boil water. That's because you spend 4 hours a day at the gym instead of learning useful things, Rachel teased, poking her husband's bicep. At least he has something to compensate for, I said, laughing. The table chuckled. Then I glanced at David and added the words that would destroy my life. Unlike some of us who are working with limited resources, if you know what I mean. Silence. Rachel's laugh came out nervous and forced. Marcus suddenly found his plate fascinating. And David? David just smiled, that strange, cold smile I'd never seen in 8 years of marriage. I'll get dessert, he said, standing up smoothly. I drained my wine glass, ignoring the uncomfortable tension. When David returned with tiramisu, he was perfectly pleasant, perfectly normal. We finished the evening with more wine and laughter, and Rachel hugged me at the door. Girl, you're terrible, she whispered, giggling. I thought it was fine. I thought he'd gotten over it. I was so terribly wrong. I woke up to an empty bed. The sheets on David's side were cold, undisturbed. I grabbed my phone, 8:47 a.m. He was probably making breakfast, but the kitchen was empty. So was his office. On the counter, I found a note in his neat handwriting. Gone to Sarah's. Back later. No love you, no emoji. Just cold, factual words. I tried texting him, sorry about last night. Wine went to my head. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Nothing. By noon, I was annoyed. By evening, when I heard his car in the driveway, I was ready to call him dramatic. Hey, I said as he walked in. You okay? I'm fine, Emma. About last night, it's fine. But his eyes weren't fine. They were empty, distant, like looking at a stranger wearing my husband's face. David, I'm sorry. It was just a stupid joke. I know. It's fine. He grabbed his laptop bag. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. What? Why? I just need space. He walked upstairs before I could respond. I stood in our kitchen, my perfect kitchen in our perfect house, feeling like the ground had shifted beneath me. I called Rachel. He's still mad about last night, I said. He's sleeping in the guest room. Oh, Emma. Men and their egos, right? Give him a day or two. He'll get over it. You were just joking. That's what I said. See? He'll be fine. But deep in my gut, something felt wrong. I just didn't know how wrong. Kevin from accounting gave me a weird look in the elevator Monday morning. I smiled at him. He looked away. At my desk, I noticed Lisa from HR walk past, glance at me, then suddenly turn around. By lunch, I was paranoid. I cornered Lisa in the hallway. What's going on? Emma, I don't know if I should say anything. Just tell me. She sighed, looking around like someone might overhear. There's a post going viral. Someone recorded your dinner party. The video of you making that joke about David, it's everywhere. My blood turned to ice. What video? I'll send you the link. My phone buzzed. I clicked the link with shaking hands. There it was. A 45-second clip, perfectly capturing my joke, my laugh, Rachel's nervous chuckle, and worst of all, the moment of hurt that flashed across David's face before he smiled. The comments were brutal. She's disgusting. Poor man, I hope he leaves her. This is emotional abuse. If a man said this about his wife, he'd be destroyed. The video had 2.3 million views. 2,300,000 people had watched me humiliate my husband. Oh my God, I whispered. I'm sorry, Emma, but people are talking. I stumbled back to my desk. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. I searched my name on social media. I was trending. People were dissecting my life, my marriage, my character. Someone had found my LinkedIn profile and was commenting on every post. And somehow, I knew David had recorded this. The angle was too perfect, too deliberate. He'd set up his phone before dinner and captured everything. But why would he destroy me like this? I stormed home that evening, rage pumping through my veins. David was in his office, calmly typing on his laptop. You recorded me? I shouted, slamming the door behind me. He swiveled in his chair, his expression blank. Yes. You put me on social media. Do you know what you've done? I'm being destroyed online. People at work won't look at me. I didn't post it, Emma. What? I didn't post it, but I didn't stop it from spreading either. What does that even mean? David leaned back, that cold smile returning. I sent the video to 3 people, Nathan, Jennifer, and Sarah. What they chose to do with it wasn't my concern. Why would you do this? My voice cracked. Because you humiliated me in front of our friends. Because you made me feel small. Because you thought my dignity was worth a cheap laugh. He stood up, and I realized I'd never seen my husband angry before, not in 8 years of marriage. He'd been annoyed, frustrated, tired, but never this cold, controlled fury. You want to know what hurts most? He continued. You didn't even think twice. It was so natural for you to mock me, to make me the punchline. That tells me everything about how you really see me. David, no, it was just a joke. I didn't mean... I filed for divorce this morning. The room tilted. What? The papers are on the kitchen table. You have 30 days to move out. David, no. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can... There's nothing to fix, Emma. You showed me who you are. I'm just choosing to believe you. He walked out of his own office, leaving me standing there, drowning. Tuesday morning, Tom called me into his office. My boss's face was serious, uncomfortable. Emma, we need to discuss your social media presence. My stomach dropped. Tom, that video was taken out of context. The company is getting negative attention because of your association with us. Several clients have expressed concerns. I made one mistake. I'm putting you on administrative leave, 2 weeks, paid. Use the time to sort out your personal affairs. I felt the walls closing in. That afternoon, Rachel called. Emma, I'm so sorry. Her voice was small, guilty. Marcus thinks we should take a break from hanging out. He's uncomfortable with all the attention. Rachel, you're my best friend. I know, but this is bigger than us right now. Give it time. It'll blow over. But it didn't blow over. My Instagram was flooded with hate messages. Someone found my college photos and created memes. A blogger wrote an article titled "The Hidden Epidemic of Female on Male Body Shaming" and used me as the prime example. I was the villain in a story I didn't even know I was writing. And through it all, David remained silent, absent, unreachable. He'd moved into Sarah's guest room. I tried calling his sister. She answered on the 4th ring. Sarah, please, I need to talk to David. You hurt my brother. What did you expect? The line went dead. I found Dr. Amanda Brooks online, a marriage counselor with excellent reviews. I made an emergency appointment. I'm not interested in counseling. David texted back when I begged him to join me. There's nothing left to save. So I went alone. Dr. Brooks was in her 50s, with kind eyes that somehow made me feel worse. We sat in her office, surrounded by soft lighting and meaningless inspirational posters. Tell me what happened, she said. I explained everything, the joke, the video, the divorce papers, the public humiliation. I made a mistake, I insisted. One stupid mistake. Does that really deserve all this? Dr. Brooks was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, Emma, can I ask you something? How often did you make jokes at David's expense? I opened my mouth to say never, but stopped. There were other times. The comment about his receding hairline at Thanksgiving. The joke about his salary compared to mine. The time I told his mom he was domestically challenged, despite him doing most of our housework. I was just being playful, I whispered. And how did he respond to your playfulness? He laughed. He always laughed. Or did he smile quietly and change the subject? I thought about it. Really thought about it. David never laughed at my jokes about him. He just smiled and moved on. Dr. Brooks leaned forward. Emma, what you called playfulness might have been a pattern of disrespect. This wasn't one mistake. This was the breaking point of accumulated hurt. I left that session feeling worse than when I'd arrived. Because deep down, I knew she was right. Thursday night, someone knocked on my door. Sarah stood on my porch, hands in her jacket pockets. Can I come in? She asked quietly. Of course. We sat in my living room, the house feeling too big and empty without David. I need you to understand something, Sarah began. David isn't doing this to punish you. He's doing this to save himself. What do you mean? Last year, David came to me and said he was unhappy. He said he felt invisible in his own marriage, that you treated him like an assistant, not a partner, that you talked over him, dismissed his opinions, and made him feel small in 1,000 tiny ways. Tears burned my eyes. He never said anything to me. He tried, Emma, but every time he brought up feeling hurt, you'd laugh it off or tell him he was too sensitive. So he stopped trying. I didn't know. That's the problem. You didn't know because you weren't paying attention. Sarah's voice was gentle but firm. That joke at dinner wasn't the problem. It was the symptom. It was the moment David realized he'd been tolerating emotional cruelty because he loved you. And love shouldn't require that kind of tolerance. So he decided to destroy my life instead? No. He decided to stop protecting someone who wouldn't protect him. The video spreading wasn't revenge. It was him stepping back and letting the natural consequences happen. You humiliated him publicly. The public responded. Sarah stood to leave. David's not coming back, Emma. But maybe you can learn from this. Maybe the next person won't have to endure years of small cuts before you notice you're holding the knife. 2 weeks after that dinner party, I hit rock bottom. My mother finally called after seeing the news online. Emma, what have you done? Claire's voice was sharp, disappointed. Mom, I made a mistake. You made a lifetime of mistakes, sweetheart. I've watched you treat David like he was lucky to have you. I've bitten my tongue because I hoped you'd grow up. But you humiliated that man, and now you're facing consequences. Even my own mother was against me. That night, I went through old photos on my phone, David at our wedding, looking at me like I was his whole world, David cooking dinner while I scrolled through my phone, David rubbing my feet after long days while I complained about work. David always there, always supportive, always quiet. And me? In most photos, I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking at my phone, at the camera, at anything but the man who loved me. I finally understood. I hadn't lost David in 3 days. I'd been losing him for years. The dinner party just gave him permission to stop holding on. David agreed to meet me one last time at a coffee shop downtown. I arrived early, rehearsing what I'd say. He walked in looking different, lighter somehow, like he'd shed an invisible weight. We sat across from each other, two strangers who used to share a life. David, I'm so sorry, I began, my voice breaking. I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong. I'll do anything. Emma, stop. His voice was kind but final. I didn't come here for apologies. I came to give you closure. He slid an envelope across the table. That's a letter I wrote to you 3 years ago. I never sent it because I convinced myself things would get better. My hands trembled as I opened it. The letter was dated, detailed, heartbreaking. He'd written about feeling invisible, disrespected, and small. He'd written about loving me but not recognizing himself anymore. He'd written about considering divorce even then, but choosing to stay and try harder. You had chances, David said softly. I gave you so many chances to see me. But I was never loud enough, never dramatic enough, never important enough. You're wrong, I whispered. You were everything. To you, I was convenient. There's a difference. He stood up. I hope you find someone who you'll treat better. And I hope you learn that love without respect isn't love at all. I watched him walk out of that coffee shop and out of my life. The divorce papers remained on the table, unsigned by me but already processed by him. It was over. 6 months have passed since that dinner party destroyed my life. I'm still at the same company, but in a diminished role. Tom made it clear the promotion I'd been expecting went to someone else. Rachel and I text occasionally, but the friendship is hollow now. I hear about David sometimes. He's dating Jennifer, the colleague he mentioned. They look happy in the photos. I shouldn't be stalking, but do. He looks free. I've been in therapy every week. Dr. Brooks helped me see that I'd weaponized humor to maintain dominance, made myself feel bigger by making David smaller. It wasn't malicious, but intention doesn't erase impact. I think about that night constantly. If I could go back, I'd bite my tongue. I'd choose kindness over a cheap laugh. I'd protect the man who'd spent years protecting me. But I can't go back. I can only move forward, carrying the weight of understanding I gained too late. David shattered my world in 3 days. But if I'm honest, truly honest, my world deserved to shatter. I'd built it on the foundation of someone else's quiet suffering. Sometimes karma doesn't come like lightning. Sometimes it comes like a mirror, forcing you to see yourself clearly for the first time. And sometimes, that reflection is the cruelest punishment of all. I lost David. But worse, I lost respect for the person I used to be. The only question now is whether I can become someone better, someone worthy of the love I took for granted. I don't know the answer yet, but I'm trying. And maybe that's all I can do. End.